My name is Morgan Sanders, and this is my presentation on the case study of the mysterious death of Assistant United States Attorney Johnathan Luna. The early life of Johnathan Luna. Johnathan Luna was born on October 21st, 1965, in the Bronx, New York. He was raised in the Patterson Housing Project near Yankee Stadium. Right out of law school, Johnathan worked at Arnold and Porter in Washington, D.C., a very prestigious law office. After he left Washington, D.C., he served as a prosecutor in Brooklyn, New York. Then he moved to Baltimore, Maryland for a job as an assistant United States attorney. In Baltimore, he met his future wife, Angela Hopkins, who was an obstetrician. They got married shortly after and had 2 children. Timeline for December 3rd, 2003. The last time anybody heard from Johnathan Luna was at 9:30 p.m. on December 3rd, 2003. Johnathan Luna left a message for defense attorney Tuminelli that he was preparing a plea agreement for a drug-related case, a case of which they were opposing counsel. Johnathan informed the other attorney that he was finalizing both written agreements for their case, and that he would fax it to him that night prior to leaving the courthouse. However, the fax was never sent, nor did the other attorney receive the fax. At 11:38 p.m., Johnathan's vehicle was caught on surveillance leaving the Baltimore, Maryland District Courthouse. 11 minutes later, was spotted passing through the Fort McHenry Tunnel toll plaza. Timeline for December 4th, 2003. At 12:28 a.m., Johnathan Luna's vehicle was spotted driving northbound through the Perryville toll plaza. At 12:46 a.m., was spotted passing through the Delaware Line toll plaza. 11 minutes later, Johnathan's debit card was used at an ATM at JFK Plaza in Newark, Delaware. At 2:37 a.m., Luna's vehicle was spotted entering the New Jersey Turnpike at exit 6A, coming from U.S. Route 130. Timeline for December 4th, 2003, Part 2. At 2:47 a.m., Johnathan Luna's vehicle was spotted entering the Pennsylvania Turnpike via the Delaware River Bridge. At 3:20 a.m., Luna's debit card was used a second time at a gas station in Pennsylvania. At 4:04 a.m., Johnathan Luna's vehicle was spotted exiting the Pennsylvania Turnpike. This is the last place that Johnathan Luna and/or his vehicle were spotted prior to his death. At 5:30 a.m. on December 4th, 2003, Johnathan Luna's body was discovered in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, off of Dry Tavern Road. Known subjects and their potential motive. The first subject is Angela Hopkins, Luna's wife. She has the most knowledge of his personal and professional life. There are likely no money issues in this matter, but that can never be ruled out until it is confirmed. Hopkins also stated in her interview that she saw him around midnight, which was puzzling due to the fact that the last known contact that was made with the victim happened at 9:30 the night before. Second is attorney Tuminelli, Poindexter's counsel. His potential motive is blackmail from a third party. Example, his client didn't like the plea deal that they had arranged. He also has the means as an attorney and the connections. He was also caught arguing with Luna and Warwick. Third is James Warwick, the primary suspect, in my opinion. He was previously seen arguing with Tuminelli and Luna over the plea legality, made changes to Poindexter's plea, and all around, something just doesn't feel right, in my opinion, with Warwick. Next is Dion Smith, the defendant on trial, also his attorney. His potential motive is that he could be angry about Poindexter's deal, not as good as his was, due to jealousy. Any previous defendants that he prosecuted could also be questioned, and should, due to the potential motive of revenge from a prior verdict. Finally, all courthouse employees should be screened and interviewed due to the fact that they had unlimited access to the building. Hypothesis. The two individuals whom I believe had the most motive to have committed this crime include James Warwick, Luna's former supervisor. In trial, the day of Luna's death, Warwick went into Luna's office to retrieve the written plea agreements for Smith and Poindexter. He ended up making drastic changes to Poindexter's deal, but not Smith's. Warwick was previously seen in a heated argument with Luna over the legality of a prior plea deal. There were concerns of unlawful plea coercion forced on Luna by Warwick. There is also the suspicion that Smith was blackmailing Warwick to change Poindexter's deal. Next is Dion Smith, who is the primary defendant for a drug-related homicide, catching heavier charges and less lenient plea deal. There is suspicion that he was potentially blackmailing Johnathan Luna, could be blackmailing Warwick, for he did make an unjustified change to the agreements that were on Luna's printer. In addition, but not listed, is Luna's wife. Due to the fact that she stated in her interview that the last time she saw her husband was around midnight the night he passed away. The last known time that Luna was reached or contacted was at 9:30 p.m. when he left a voicemail for attorney Tuminelli. Unless she got her times and dates mixed up, this also could cause a rift in the process. Intelligence gaps. The first person I would question as an investigator of this cold case is Johnathan Luna's wife, Angela Hopkins. Due to the fact that she is his spouse, she has the most personable amount of access to the victim. The significant other is typically questioned first to eliminate them from the suspect pool, unless the spouse gives the detectives probable cause to believe otherwise. The spouse of any victim is also able to give investigators insight into issues with both their personal and professional life that not many people would know. I would personally question and look into any suspicious person that Ms. Hopkins revealed had any sort of animosity towards the victim as well. The second person I would question is the last person who made contact with the victim, which in this case is attorney Tuminelli. It is also vital to make contact with any individual the victim had issues with, which in this case includes James Warwick, whose last known encounter with the victim including a screaming match. Dion Smith also had motive as the defendant who Luna was prosecuting. Whether or not they had a deal is not relevant in this case. Pivotal case findings. The fact that Johnathan Luna never sent the facts with the plea agreements to opposing counsel was chilling to read, for that is the whole reason he was at the courthouse so late at night. It seemed as if his abrupt exit was due to being cornered by somebody that was unexpectedly at the courthouse at that time. There were also several transactions on his debit card throughout odd hours of the night. In addition, Warwick made changes to the agreements in favor of the primary defendant while in recess in trial the day Luna's body was discovered. Not to mention the fact that Warwick and Luna were spotted in a heated argument about plea legality prior to his death. The most chilling fact of this case is that Luna's death at first was ruled a suicide, even though he was stabbed 36 times with his own pocket knife, and his manner of death was ruled as drowning, his body being found by his wrecked vehicle with 36 stab wounds. It seems as if his manner of death were being covered up. To this day, there are no suspects, which is bizarre, especially with how much technology has evolved in 2 decades. In conclusion, these are the sources that I analyzed throughout the duration of this case study of the homicide of Johnathan Luna. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation.